Hello, welcome, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this, Episode 8, Part 2 of Kaz's Fighter Jet Roundtable Tournament. Today we have another 4 aircraft ready to throw down and see who goes on to the second round of 8 for this special episode. Let's go ahead and get on into the watchtower and the roundtable and see what they have in store for you all today. So starting off right quick over here on Team A, we have the ADF-01 Falcon TLS Slim Fast sent in by Script Kitty, who once again is coming to us with an Ace Combat replica style aircraft. This one, as you might have guessed by the name, is of the ADF-01 Falcon, which was basically the follower to the Morgan. In lore, this one actually rocking a TLS. It'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. After all, we've had lots of people complaining that the TLS is OP, yet almost no one has actually used it. Oh, it's too heavy, Kaz. Well, guess what? That's called a balancing factor, ladies and gentlemen. So, other than the big badass laser, let's see what else they've got here. It looks like two Mausers, and as a result of that, they're going to have to cut down on their missile load, and they have done that. They are rocking 4 US AIM-9X Sidewinders. And in the rear, with the gear, we've got 2 Saturn engines that are sitting pretty here, ready to rocket this thing through the skies. Looks to be a fairly, I would imagine it's a fairly heavy aircraft. Although not tremendously so. It might actually be midweight. Hard to tell with the missile, without the missile load there. I don't remember how much this thing weighed in the spaceplane hangar. It does, in fact, have its ECM devices and everything ready to go. This thing will be, arguably, a force to be reckoned with, much like the actual Falcon. But will it be enough to defeat its enemy? I don't know. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what it'll be up against today on Team B. And Team B over here is sitting pretty with the XF-44D2 Condor sent in by Mecha Meme. I'm surprised it's not named after a Gundam or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll be using some Gundam-inspired music or some other sort of mecha suit music in the background right now. Either way, let's go ahead and take a look and see what this thing has got. Rocking it with 3 Product 30 engines. 1 tweak scaled to be slightly smaller, so it's not overdoing the engine clipping rules. That's the absolute maximum it's allowed right there. This thing will have a lot of thrust to weight. Very, very good. Even stationary, it's already got 2.5. Once it starts moving, that's going to kick up pretty quickly. Looks like it's also rocking 8 missiles. So let's see. We've got 4 Banshee air-to-air missiles, which will be very, very good at distracting the enemy, as well as rocking AIM-9X Sidewinders down there. The meaner, slightly more team-killy version of the Sidewinders, rocking the J-10 cockpit as well, looking rather sleek, and looks like maybe just a single Mauser. Oh yes, because this thing is also using the 50 cal turret. Very cool. We have one special weapon over there and another over here. Should prove to be fairly interesting. Look at this. We've also got OTP parts, something else we don't see very often, which I'm always a fan of. I love the black and white coloration on those parts, personally. It's just something I really like. We do have some Sylph Canards up here in the front. Looks like they've limited the authority on them for some reason. Maybe they were just too good. And air brakes, acting as, it looks like, air brakes. Yep. Nope, they're also active for pitch, so hopefully they'll get a little more control out of that. I already said my spiel on that in part 1, so let's go ahead and get to the watchtower, get these things into the air for round 1. And here we are back at the watchtower for round 1 between these fighters. Let's go ahead and start the competition and get them into the air. Falcons are burning hard over there, and just as the gear gets taken off and everything, we have the cool-looking lights on the end of the condors back there kicking on. Something that you couldn't really see. Very, very snazzy. I do love that people are actually using those aviation lights. They don't weigh very much, they're very easy on the part count, and well, they're pretty. What can I say? I would like to use them more. Especially now with the off-symmetry, or removed from symmetry function in the spaceplane hangar and other areas. You can place them, turn them off of symmetry, and then change their colors and things separately. Either way, it looks like the Condors get missiles off first. Yup, my bet was going to be that they were Banshees, and they are indeed Banshees. Just gonna kind of sit there and float there and be annoying, at least for some period of time. The Falcons are diving. Well, the Condors make themselves at home diving in. This one gets intimately acquainted with the ground, crashing into the terrain. Not good, not very good. Oh, wait a minute. We've got missiles and a red line. We have... Is that a missile kill or oh, I'm not sure what it was, but we did in fact see the TLS over here loading and firing. Oh, jeez! Just as I went to load in, the Falcon must have gotten a very quick kill with that TLS. TLS absolutely deadly in a joust. Absolutely vicious in a joust. Straight on shot to the cockpit. Very, very nasty. Looks like those Banshees weren't able to outdo the power of the Falcon. Let's see if this power will continue into round 2. And here we are for round 2. Falcon managing to punch out a very, very quick victory there using its missiles and the TLS. Despite the fact that one of them did manage to crash into the ground. TLS is truly a very deadly weapon, though not particularly deadly at incredibly long range, particularly due to laser fall-off. It is very accurate, of course, but it can't maintain fire for any long period of time. So, as a result, during jousts and things at range, it does actually have its most power in those situations. The first turn is absolutely key for TLS users, and we can see that the Falcon did in fact make excellent use of that on that first turn. Very difficult to see perhaps in the recording, at least I hope it's not too hard to see. And again, we have the Banshee missiles firing first, but the Falcons are firing one of their AIM-9s over here at a range, managing to get one off, and a direct hit to a Condor with an AIM-9, absolutely obliterating that craft. Just confetti and all kinds of horrible death going on. Another AIM-9 speeding in toward the debris cloud and the other Condor, and 2 missile kills in incredibly quick succession. I'm not sure what happened there. It did look like there were some... It did look like there was... It did look like there were countermeasures and stuff in the air. The black splotches and other things, although I don't think these have any... These in particular, or the other ones didn't... These don't have any radar-guided munitions. Either way... I'm not sure what happened there. Either way, we do have a very fast winner. For the first round, the Falcon will be continuing on to the second round of 8. So here we are for the second matchup of today. We have the joint ADF RXL MK2B1B-1B Sky Knight. Whew! That is a hell of a... that's a lot to say. In any case, this is actually a joint fighter developed by two people, Eye of Odin and Dr. Dinobot. This plane basically was worked on by both parties, and they decided to submit it as a single entry. Very low profile there, as far as that. It might make it kind of interesting trying to land this thing. Split air brakes in the back, always something I appreciate and think is really cool at the same time. Rocking some a very hefty missile loadout here. Looks like they've got a single Banshee just for that first turn annoyance, followed by a meteor missile, some AMRAAM EMP missile going on there, very deadly. And this has just got a whole palooza different kinds of missiles going on. All kinds of different stuff. Too many for me to easily list in short order. It's also rocking the standard 2 Mauser loadout here, and the F-35 cockpit, which is always cool. And it is hurled through the sky on 3 Product 30 engines. So it's a tri-fighter. Gonna have a lot of power behind it. That's for sure. Either way, let's go ahead and get on to Team B and see what this monster will be facing. And here we are on Team B. So you remember how I said that Arctifier had learned from his past mistakes, we'll say, with the Plin? Well, this is part of that, part of the fruit of those labors. Jeez, Kaz, words. So let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. If only Sylph Canards here that actually do anything are somewhere back here. One of them is, there's this one right here. The center one here is set to be only used for roll and at 21 authority, while these ones up here don't do anything other than moving the center of lift around. And these are also just for prettiness, as well as these down there. So this one is actually using Sylph Canards for aesthetic purposes. It's also one of the few single engine fighters we have. Again, a Product 30 NMB engine, and we have tail fins, just standard tail fins doing the rest of the work. Should be pretty interesting to see how this little fighter holds its own. Also down here with a very light missile load of AIM-9 Sidewinders, which means back here it's got a little 50 cal turret. Well, apparently the weapon name is Bob. This is Bob now. So I didn't see a gun at first glance. I'm sure it has to have one. It seemed kind of daft not to have one on here. Oh, there it is. It's down on the belly. Single Mauser there. All right. So let's go ahead and get over here to the second aircraft in this dog-fighting pair. Also developed by Arctifier, the XU-28 Hydrangea, which I guess is supposed to be the successor to my most hated of aircraft, the Amaryllis. Very sleek-looking airplane here. Very different look from the Amaryllis and most of Arc's previous fighters here, looking very sleek, very pretty, with that very nice F-22 cockpit inset there, so it's more difficult to see the air intakes, and as a result, it just looks very sleek. Gotta hand it to Arc here. This is one very gorgeous-looking airplane running around with 2 Saturn engines. Looks like PL-10 missiles. Yep, the standard PL-10s, the Team Killer PL-10s, as I've now come to call them because of how often that happens. Although this is Arctifier we're talking about. I mean, his planes are... I mean, again, he was said to have gotten 5 kills in a 3v3. So... hey. Anyway... this plane is using the standard 2-gun layout with the 30 mils. 30 millimeter? Yeah. 30 mils. Kaz second guessing himself. So, altogether, this is a very sleek, very deadly looking aircraft going up against another very fast, mean looking plane. This plane just looks mean, man. It looks definitely, it looks like it's going to tear ass through the sky and turn its enemies into fantastic confetti. So let's go ahead and get them into the air for round one. And the second bout of today's episode will begin. Aircraft getting themselves into the air. Looks like the Super Sylph 50 cal is lagging behind just a little bit. It is a single-engine fighter. That's to be expected. Although, once it gets going, I imagine that Product 30 engine should give it a lot of a decent amount of thrust, we'll say. Not really sure who I'm expecting to win here. The Sky Knight back there has a lot of thrust-to-weight ratio. That said, though, the Hydrangea looks to be, well, also very deadly. And with that, the competition is starting. Looks like the single Banshee... No, we got an AIM-120D launching there. Another 120D. Standard 120, I imagine that's probably the EMP version, and a Banshee. These are just all the missiles. Look at this. Missile after missile after missile being fired at the enemy aircraft over here. ARC's twin planes just flying around, doing their best to avoid the parade of explosive death. Countermeasures just everywhere over here, so thick you could walk across them. Looks like finally the Hydrangea is starting to get into a position where it might be able to circle around and pincer the rear of these. Not quite, though. The Sky Knights have them on the ropes, just pinned down under missile. Let's go ahead. Oh! And just as I switch, the Hydrangea gets blown out of the air by a missile. There's absolutely nothing else that could have been. Let's go ahead and get on to the Ultra Sylph instead, since it is the only other aircraft remaining on this side. That little 50 cal doing its best to distract its enemy. This one only got off one missile, looks like. Still got 4 of its missiles there. Whoa! Speaking of which, whoa! Another missile just... Jeez! Man, these Sky Knights are definitely not to be trifled with. We might even have a Knight of the Round Table on our hands here. Let's go ahead and get into round 2. And we are back for round 2 between these fighters, with the Sky Knights just basically slapping the opposition down by just a storm of different missiles. Let's see if they can continue that trend here as we get into round 2. Between these two aircraft, I would say that the Hydrangea is probably the superior design, just from appearances only, but, you know, appearances can be deceiving. That said, it could have also tried to weather the most amount of missiles. Let's go ahead and curve on over here to the Sky Knights. We'll try and watch a little bit from their perspective without actually watching from their perspective, you know, so the observer effect doesn't kick in. I just want to see them launch all of those missiles. Like that, just... that was an absolute torrent, missile after missile after missile, just pinning down the opposition, no matter how superior the aircraft may or may not have been. And just like that, looks like the competition is starting. They are once more just another missile after missile, again being fired and launched from the Sky Knights. Jeez. We're gonna have to find some Macross music to play for this with all the missiles that are being launched from these. It's absolutely nuts. Alright, well, that's about as much as I can actually follow them at this point. Missiles have definitely been fired. Let's go ahead and get behind the Sky Knights this time. watch them as they go ahead and get into the fight. Just see missiles locking up and being fired one after the other in a constant barrage. And a missile streaks in, manages to get some not kills, but damage on that hydrangea. Still, these aircraft still have more missiles. They haven't launched all of them yet. My guess then is that it's going to be the second one over there that's done most of the work. We have the 50 cal lighting up, you can hear it. Actually, no. Yeah, this one's launched a lot of missiles too. The Ultra Sylph getting on its tail now. Trying to light it up with that single Mauser. Looks like the weapon group in general is called Bob. So the guns are actually in their same group, rather than having two different groups. They have just a guns group named Bob. I'm hearing guns. Let's go ahead and see if it's the hydrangea. Hydrangea actually doesn't look like it's been hurt that much, despite the missile exploding. It might have knocked out its missile payload. If you get a glancing blow with a missile like that... Actually, no, it looks like it might have gotten hurt, perhaps on the sides there. Although I didn't get a good look at the underside of this craft. Yeah, it's only got one gun. The other Mauser got blown off by that explosion. Not a good thing. Oh, wait a minute! I didn't see it. This looks like this hydrangea has an EML on it. I didn't even notice that. Apparently, the weapon group this one has is Warm Wishes from Ark, which includes an EML. Okay, now I'm really hoping that we get an EML kill. And an EML fires at incredibly long range. Not the most accurate weapon when you are pulling some tight maneuvers like that. We're going to go ahead and back out of fighter mode just to get a wider perspective on the fight going on. This Sky Knight still on the tail while the little Ultra Sylph back there tries to get shots on the Sky Knight, pinning it down with the Mauser and the 50 cal in the back. Very cool stuff, guys. I love seeing that little 50 cal put in work. It's just so cool. It really is. Uh-oh. Looks like the hydrangea is now dealing with both of the Sky Knights on its tail. But the Ultra Sylph is coming in to help out its big friend. Flying in, trying to split up the pair that is on this one's butt. And it is getting shots on with that single gun. Not tracking spectacularly well there. Could be because of the strange placement. Oh! Just as I say that, we get a bit of a hit. Not sure what was hit on that Sky Knight, but it looks like it is not particularly fond of what just happened. It broke off almost immediately. And we have a gun spraying in. Not sure what it hit. It definitely hit something. Hard to tell what. It might have just been the... Oh, no! We have a bit of lag. And a Sky Knight getting lit up over there by the hydrangea. Debris. It still appears to be flying, so it must not have taken anything too serious off of it. Let's go ahead and see if we can figure out which one's the damaged one here. All right, so it's missing two engines and a large chunk of its, well, most of its control surfaces over there. It's still flying, but for how long? Not really sure. Looks like the Ultra Sylph is now behind the other Sky Knight. Sort of. This one actually looks like it's heading for the wounded Sky Knight. Hydrangea over here pulling some evasive maneuvers as the other Sky Knight lights it up with the Mausers. You can see the slight gimbal on that EML allowing it to try and track on enemies. And I do mean slight. We're talking maybe 2 degrees of freedom. which is nice and all, but it's basically nothing. It's just enough to allow the AI to actually use it without making it a hugely gimbling murder machine. It is, however, a murder machine. If it can get a lock on it. And it looks like it's trying to line up. Lights up. Oh! 30 mils. Tearing, looks like stripping a wing off of that Sky Knight. That is the, well, was, we'll say, the intact Sky Knight. EML firing even as the 30 mil is firing. Mostly because those weapons are in the same weapon group. Chasing it in toward the ground, another launched shot by the EML. EML not being particularly accurate, but, and again, that's how it is. Oh, wait a minute! That is 100% an EML kill. Planes do not simply do that if they're hit by 30 mils. That was 100% an EML kill. Wait a minute! Looks like the Ultra Sylph may have crashed into the ground. Alright, I'm not sure. Is it? Okay, this plane is down and out. This one is, well, well, it's upside down and out. Haha. Alright, so that does mean that... Oh no, that must have been it. Yep, that was definitely an EML shot. Another one just to put the hurt on. The XU-28 Hydrangea managing to pull through a victory in round 2 here for these fighters. Let's go ahead and get into round 3. And we are back for the final round between these two sets of fighters. Both of them have proven themselves to be quite deadly. We'll have to see which one manages to eke out a victory over the other. And we'll go on to face the new challengers in the second round of 8. So for those of you that are wondering, that means this video will probably be broken down into 5 parts as opposed to just the 3. That's because we're going to be having 2 more videos dedicated to the second round of 8 after this one. And the competition starts just as I take a break. Sky Knights getting their missiles off first, as they've been doing. 120s arcing high, up, over, and down, bringing the pain. Potentially trying to do their best. Another AIM 120. I think that's probably the EMP variant. Hydrangea doing its best to avoid the enemy missiles. This 120 coming in. Still no major detonation over there. Just absolute missile storm. And despite the storm, looks like they are managing to... Well, just as I say that, Hydrangea gets hit by a missile. Debris everywhere. Not sure how damaged it is. Definitely, in this case, the missiles have got their target. Let's go ahead and zoom on in here. Hydrangea did get hit. You can see it's missing some control surfaces and basically its entire complement of missiles. And as I say that, one of the Sky Knights gets taken out over here by a missile. At the very least, it's not tracking particularly well. Banshee on the tail of the Hydrangea here, causing it to try and stay away. Without any missiles, it has no real way to try and counter. Well, missiles. We have another very close explosion, throwing this plane, uh-oh, and it's spinning. That potentially means it could actually get killed by that Banshee. That is slowly getting closer and closer. And closer! Oh! And it's definitely out from that. No way it's going to be helping anybody over here. Let's go ahead and slip on over to the Ultra Sylph, which is putting the hurt on the final Sky Knight. Let's go ahead and get into fighter mode as it lines up, stripping off the engines. Let's see if Bob can put in the work. Turret doing its best with that very unequal thrust there. That Sky Knight is probably not long for this world without any real way to do anything. It's just spinning around. Spinning right around like a record. And mercifully, the Ultra Sylph manages to carve off the asymmetric thrust, allowing the torture of existence for the Sky Knight to slowly come to an end. Which means that your victors for this round will be Arctifier and his dogfighting pair of the Ultra Sylph and the XU-28 Hydrangea. Well, that about settles it for this round. Well, this episode, anyway. We have our 4 finalists going into the second round of 8. That means next time we're going to have 4 brand new fighters facing off against the 4 winners from this section. Will these champions be able to hold on to that title as they move ahead? We'll have to see. Either way, I have been Kaz. This has been Episode 8, Part 2 of Kaz's Fighter Jet Roundtable Tournament. And until the next time, happy building.